the kingdom of heaven, and the divine form. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. So glad to have you with me tonight. I've got the brand new computer. So as if I needed something else to try to learn how to do. So we've got the Macintosh set up. We're going to try the Macintosh microphone here, see how it does. Hello, Chris. Yeah, I'm looking here because I've got one monitor with the chat room up, and then I've got the monitor here, the Macintosh, which I'm actually able to use, and I've got another computer over here as well, so I could actually look into two places. Hey, Lewis. So I got the Macintosh all set up, and how does the microphone sound from the just the Macintosh computer? How's it sounding right now? Somebody let me know when you get a chance. Hello, Jen. So here we are. Yeah, all day long I was doing this and learning how to use this and getting everything all set up. So that's where I've been. I wasn't ignoring you on purpose. Thank you, Jen. It's just, getting things set up, getting things going. I don't have to, if this works, I don't have to wear that big headset, which would be nice. So we'll see. Now, someone said that I'm giving them, kind of bothering them, going back and forth between questions, and thank you. Going between questions and the stuff we're talking about. So we'll see if we can maybe save the questions till the end. But hey, you know what? You can't please all the people all the time anyway, right? So let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to talk about basics. And we're going to talk about if I can figure out how to get to the place I want to get, we're going to talk about basics. And we're going to talk about basics. And we're going to talk about the kingdom of heaven and the divine form. That's what we're aiming for today. And again, I got to get to where I can find what I'm supposed to be doing here. So this is so much fun, I got to tell you. Even though it's like terribly upsetting because I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning. And right now I can't find the book that I thought I had, so we can actually talk about what we're gonna talk about. So at any rate, I want to talk about the kingdom of heaven and the divine form, and we want to pick up where we left off on the last time. And I guess I'm just gonna have to open up another window, and we'll see what happens if I open this up. Oh, boom, here it is. Sooner or later, I will find it. It just is, how long will it take him, right? And we're going to go get this down into the right page. And we're going to be rocking and rolling before you know it. I think. All righty then. Anybody have any questions for me? Just let me get to the right page and we'll be off and running. I know it's on here somewhere, but I just can't find where it is exactly. The page is already open on here somewhere, but it's brand new. I'm literally never sat down in front of a Macintosh before. So I'm just trying to find, instead of trying to, spend my time trying to find the page, I'm just going to go to the page, which I thought was going to be the easy part, but I don't know if you've ever used one, but it does take a little bit. It's a little bit of a learning process. So that's what we're going through right now. That's what I'm going through, is a learning process. And unfortunately, you've kind of got to go through it with me. But that's all right. We're almost there. I wish I hadn't written such a long book here. All right. We're getting really warm now. Okay, so let's see if I can get this to be on here where I want it, and we'll be good to go. You know what? I cannot find it. So I'm just going to have to not share the screen with you because I just cannot find it. So irritating. Wow. You see all the crazy stuff I'm doing. Good Lord, I'm totally lost. Oh my, I have no idea where I am and what I need to do. We might have to abort, ladies and gentlemen. We might have to abort. Because I really don't know where I am or what I'm doing. You know what? I think I'm going to have to abort. Unfortunately, I'll try to get this fixed up and get it back in here. But right now, I am going to just have to abort because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can't find anything. And it's terrible. I'm not even sure that I can actually end the meeting because we're on Zoom. So, all righty then. Good grief. Can you believe that? Oh, here I am. So I'm going to go ahead and just read it to you. And you won't be able to see what I'm looking at, unfortunately, because I just can't figure out how to do it. And I really apologize. I should have never got on here, but I was excited. I hadn't made a video all day long. And again, I probably shouldn't have done it this way, but I do apologize. And here we are, and let's just go for it. And we're looking again out of Final Message of the Last Apostle. And we're looking at the kingdom of heaven and the divine form. So let's go ahead and blaze over to that. That's just crazy. I thought I had this down. That's why it took so much time to make sure I had it down. And it's pretty evident I do not have it down. I'll probably cut out that whole first part when I post it up to the channel. So unfortunately, you folks had to put up with it, but I think we'll be able to get it squared away by the time we get it posted up. Okay, the kingdom of heaven and the divine form. And we have looked at all of the biblical information. We've looked at the biblical information talking about, I got Rex up here. Okay. So talking about all the information that we've talked about regarding the scripture. Do I dare try to do it again? I just can't find it for some reason. So we'll just forget about that. All righty. So all the information that we've looked at the creation of humanity. We've seen that there seems to have been a creation of a subgenre, if you will, or a subclass of humanity. And in the Ostrahasis, they're talking about those as the Lulu. The Nag Hammadi calls it the phony creation. And of course, in the book of Genesis, we have the mudmen. And last time we asked, are we predispositioned towards servitude? Are we genetically engineered to be a serving, a worker race? And of course, the question would be, is that all we are, is a worker race? But that's not the end of the story, because as we look into the book of Genesis, as we look into the other creation epics, like the Ostrahasis, we do see that there was another class of being created. There's really two creations. And even within the book of Genesis, there's two creations. You've got I don't know if subhuman is the right word, but you've got a worker class of humans that seems to be not as good as a later class of humans that are created. And if we look at the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, we see one creation in Genesis 1, 26 and 27. when the Elohim create man in their image. Male and female, just like they are, I believe, with male and female essence within each of us, and also, males separately and females separately. You see that in the book of Genesis. And then you turn into Genesis chapter 2 and you see the Lord, Yahweh, Jehovah, Marduk, rat bastard. You see him creating a mud hut body and then conning and convincing us to enter into it. So that's your two creations in Genesis. You also see in the Atrahasis with the Adapa, and then the demigods of Sumer. And you see in the original language in Genesis 1:26 and 27 that we were created with divine potential in that creation. Really probably spiritual beings that were still learning how to manifest in the flesh. And that was really the seed of why man rebelled and took the way of the serpent, is because he was offering a shortcut. So we need to be very, very leery, I would say, of shortcuts. So Edgar Casey in his readings also said that we were originally created as souls. The Quran even teaches that man's original habitation was the angelic world, and only later did it descend into the garden. And I think they may be on to something there. And you've got to remember that Quran's, Islam's creation is, it's from the same people, same places as Judaism and Christianity. Many times it's the very same people. So for Quran to say, oh, we used to live in an angelic realm, we were spiritual beings, then we came down to the earth, I think they've got some insight in that perhaps we, coming from the Christian tradition, have forgotten, because we haven't been fed a straight scoop out of the book of Genesis. And we were what you would say a spiritual creation that had the ability to manifest physically, but we were still learning to do it. And that's where we got tricked by the Lord to go into those mud hut bodies. And he's very successful in seducing most, if not all, of the creation of the Elohim into habitation in this mud hut. Humanity has become captive to the Lord by our own mistakes, by our own lack of patience, by our own, desire to shortcut. So we have to learn that it takes some work. It takes some doing. It takes actually, we live in a microwave world, and it's so easy for us to think that everything can be done quickly. Well, some things can't be done quickly, relatively quickly, but not boom, there it is. It just can't happen. Edgar Casey said these words. I thought they were very interesting. We were initially intended to become aware of our Creator's many dimensions of life. However, we became too enmeshed and ensnared by self-expression and self-gratification, which caused us to lose touch with our original celestial creation. That's readings 3484-1. So even Edgar Casey says that we were originally created as a celestial being, an angelic type being. The Quran teaches that we were created as an angelic type being. Genesis 1:26 and 27 teaches that we were created as a Elohim-like being. You could say a God in training. So we were of celestial stuff. We were of angelic stuff. And I'm convinced that that was our base carnation, if you will. And then they were teaching us to be able to manifest like the Christ did in fleshly bodies, out of fleshly bodies, in, out, in, out, in, out. It's interesting. I'm kind of teaching the same thing now that they were teaching us then, how to get out, manifest in a body. Only they weren't teaching us to get out of a mud hut body because it wasn't created yet. And if we'd have listened to them, we never would have gone in it. But at any rate, that spark of divinity planted by the Elohim in the original creation was made in the divine image. And that's the same thing that the Christ said, you've got the spark of divinity in you, the kingdom of heaven's in you. That's what he was talking about. The kingdom of God is within you. And I do think we have that divine gene dormant in us. And I think it has to do, as I've said before, with our analytical mind. And once we get our analytical mind straightened out, and I got to start straightening out analytical minds at 8:30 in the morning this time. So it's exciting. I have a couple of appointments tomorrow. And once we get it reset, we can get re-access to that celestial blink and that celestial download. That's why big time religion works so hard to keep us ignorant of these amazing facts. And that's why I work so hard to help make us aware of these amazing facts. So we're doing everything we can because we think it's vitally important. And how sad is it that we're really just trying to get back to where we were at the beginning? We've had, some say 6,000 years. It's many years where we have been pounded into the ground, literally, and we're trying to reclaim that which was rightfully ours and given to us by the Elohim. And we talked last time about the golden rule. That is the narrow way. There's so few people that walk in the narrow way of the golden rule, and everybody else lives by that other golden rule, which is he that has the most gold makes the rules. So we don't want to do that. We want to step out of that. We want to move beyond that. We want to get ourselves into a place where we can, again, move beyond that and become a much better person. And we have to realize again that your heritage is not Christian. Your heritage is not Jewish. Your heritage is not Islam. These are Johnny-come-lately religions. I mean, they're only at the very most maybe 10,000 years old, at the very, very most. And we've had religion in our culture as humans for probably 50,000 years. So they really are Johnny-come-latelys. You are not a Christian. You are not a Muslim. You are not a Jew. And it helps you to go back and learn who you are and to be able to get in contact with your divine source. I wonder if that's what the Christ was referring to, at least in part, when he said, know thyself. And the more you know of your unique original ways and truths, the more you begin to see that we all come from a common spiritual heritage. And this is why I work with people on past life regressions as well. But the past life regressions, to be frank with you, have taken a back seat because there's so much life here to go over and get fixed before we get to past life. And we can go straight to past life. That's more of a carnival ride. It's more of a parlor trick if we haven't taken care of our analytical mind. So, I mean, we can do both. It's just, the way it is. And when we realize this and we put our collective knowledge together and we really start learning and remembering that the narrow way is not some straight and narrow version of some religion, but it's the way of loving ourselves and loving our neighbors as ourselves. It really is being excellent to each other. That is the golden rule, and it is the narrow way. And it does something else too. It's not just about being magnanimous. It's not just about being excellent to each other. It's about being excellent to yourself, because when you get your mind, your analytical mind dialed back in, and when you get that comforter activation, and when you get that hard, downline, the Ethernet connection, if you will, to the divine database, then it becomes very simple and easy for you to understand and comprehend your great basic purpose. It becomes boom, just like that. Automatisch, as the Germans say, automatic. And that's another great reason why I push this so hard, because it really is transformational in your life. And once you find what you're put here to do on this earth, it launches you into another level of self-confidence, self-worth, and the living of a richly satisfying life. And it also allows the rest of us to finally be able to take advantage of that which you were supposed to contribute. And it also makes the burden less on the rest of us, as we don't have to do what you were supposed to be doing, plus what we were supposed to be doing. So you really help everybody out when you discover your great basic purpose. And when we destroy any chance of this, we do destroy any chance of this when we give in to orthodox religion, be it Judaism, Islam, Christianity. We give up any chance of discovering our great basic purpose, because then we're doing what we're told, when we're told, where we're told, how we're told. We believe that we're supposed to buy into this. Really, if you think about it, Christianity is a collective. It's like a hive mindset. It's like the Borg. And they want us to believe that resistance is futile. That's what we're taught. Oh, man, it's been 6,000 years. 2,000 years of Christianity, resistance is futile. Who are you to think that you can do it a better way? Well, I'm me. I can read, I can write, I can discern. I got my analytical mind cleared up. I got a direct recognition and remembrance of every bit of data I've ever taken in. And not only that, I got the comforter activation and the hardwire to the divine database. So everything the Father knows, I know. That's how I know. That's how I know. And Grace Vanderwall put out a new song that says something like, I'm so tired of being told what I'm supposed to know. Oh. Me too. I'm tired of being told. And it'll also deliver us from unfulfilled lives, being wage slaves and dead-end jobs that don't even remotely resemble the callings of our great basic purpose. And most people that support these religious organizations haven't been fully aware of the implications of what their churches teach. And it's my hope that our work together will make these people aware. And once aware, they have the opportunity to make a decision and to make a choice. Whether they choose to decide wisely or not is really not my business or your business. Our business is to get people to the place that they understand there's a choice and give them the information available to able to, to make them a choice. And I know we're living in weird days, and we've got, radical Islam on the loose. I'm afraid we're going to see radical Christianity again rising and rearing its ugly head. I think as they start, this whole September 23 thing, and as they start thinking we're more and more into the end days, I mean, some crazy lunatic is going to try to start doing things that he thinks are fulfilling Bible prophecy, quote unquote. And we may indeed see a rise of Christian extremist fundamentalist violence. I hope not. But my thought is, and this is especially something I think that the so-called truth movement should understand. We should understand that we're stronger together than we are separately. And for us to attack one another, and I mean, flat earth comes to mind because flat earth becomes one of those very evangelistic, almost Christian-esque things where it almost becomes, if you don't believe in flat earth, I can't talk to you or have agreement with you about anything else. Because if you don't believe in flat earth and I do believe in flat earth, then we can't talk. Conversely, if you're a flat earther and I'm not, I don't want to talk to you about anything else. We need to have love and acceptance, and we need to be able to allow each other not to have a litmus test for fellowship, but welcome people from really any walk of life or spiritual experience if you want to come and learn the ways of the Christ. We're all working together. We're all trying to find our way. And like the Christ said, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He didn't say of any Moor man. He didn't say of any Christian. He didn't say of any Jew. He didn't say of any Catholic. He didn't say of any Protestant. He said, if any person comes to me, let him drink. Give somebody some water. Of course, there's physical water, but also there's the water of life, right? Give him some good word. Oh, I'm believing the flat earth, but I'm here in your chat room. Am I going to say, get out of here? No. We're going to give people some space. And, Christ spoke this at the Feast of Tabernacles, if he was real and if he was really there. And that was when all of the people from one of those 4 times where everybody had to come around and attend Jerusalem. So he was showing us that, wow, this is something for everybody. And it was really on the last great day of the feast, which is interesting because that is emblematic of the fulfillment of all things and the institution of the perfect kingdom. So when he's talking about the institution of the perfect kingdom and the fulfillment of all things, he said those words, let them come unto me if they thirst, and then out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. So is the Christ trying to tell us that when we finally begin to accept everyone and love everyone, and there's no more them, only us, is that when we'll really bring the fulfillment of the manifestation, the full manifestation of the kingdom of God? I wonder. I wonder. None are turned away. He said, if anyone wants to drink, let him come. The Christ doesn't turn anybody away. He doesn't turn away people that are Freemasons. He doesn't turn away people that are not Freemasons. He doesn't turn away people that believe in the flat earth, and he doesn't turn away people that do not believe in the flat earth. He doesn't turn away people that believe in shape-shifting reptilians, and he doesn't turn away people that don't believe in shape-shifting reptilians. He accepts people that believe aliens are demons, and he accepts people that think aliens are interdimensional. So let's have some love and some respect, and let's give each other some room to grow and develop. And let's develop the habit of being able to converse without being rude or trollish or any of those other things. And when any person of any faith and any creed comes to Yeshua, they will find some spiritual refreshment. I don't care who you are or what you are. You'd be amazed at the variety of people that we have coming to this channel from the variety of places and from the variety of religious experience. And every one of them can get some spiritual refreshment. And then in Revelation 22:17, it says, and the Spirit and the bride say, come. Let him that hears say, come. Let him that is athirst come. And whoever will, let him come and take freely of the river of the water of life. I think it's the last legitimate verse in the book of Revelation, to be honest with you. I think those are the final words of the Greek scriptures known as the New Testament. And whoever will, let him come and take the river of life freely. I think that's the last legitimate, it's the last words of the final message of the last apostle. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. The Comforter, which in Greek is masculine. I know, I wish it were feminine, but in Greek, the Comforter is masculine. And then the bride, the feminine Gaia, the feminine organic light, they say come as well. So you've got male divinity and female divinity saying, come on. Male divinity, female divinity saying, come on, come accept it. It's yours. And then those that heard said, come. Have you heard? Are you hearing now? And if you really have heard from the male essence of divinity, and if you really have heard from the female essence of divinity, if you've really heard, then you're saying, come. And it reminds me, I feel bad about these hyper racist black guys and girls that are trolling me incessantly. Now it's all about black. If you're not black, you're going down, you're devils. If you're white, that's just plain stupid. That's just plain stupid. And that shows me they haven't heard. Because those that have heard are saying, whosoever will, red, yellow, black, white, come on down and have a drink. Our arms are open wide for everybody. Those that have truly heard will always say, come on. It's those that haven't heard that say, oh, no. We don't want any of your type here. No. This is a gray-haired man's religion, and you're a brown-haired man. Oh, no. This is a white-skinned man's religion, and you got skin that isn't white, so you need something else. No, those that have really heard always say come. Gone are the days of we don't smoke, drink, or chew, or hang out with those that do. Those days are gone. Us four and no more. Those days are gone. It's time for us to gather together with all people that have these crazy outside-the-box beliefs and get ourselves together and learn to accept each other. We've outgrown dogma. We've outgrown orthodoxy. And we need to stop looking for reasons to draw lines of division and let that all disappear in a great circle of inclusion. And that's because you're not getting it. And I know a lot of the people here are getting it. people in general aren't getting it. And there's a lot of people in the truth movement that aren't getting it. They're still drawing those lines of division. They still don't understand the come on in. They don't understand that great circle of inclusion because they haven't really heard. They start hearing their own hobby horse doctrine. And that's all they can hear. And really, I'm just going to say this, and I know that some of you aren't going to like it. Truth movement Pharisees are no better than Christian Pharisees. Truth movement Pharisees are no better than Christian Pharisees. Truth movement extremists are no better than extremists of any other faith. And maybe that's the problem. If you have a pet doctrine that becomes a faith, you may be on some dangerous ground. You may be on some dangerous ground because, yeah, 1 John says, this is how we know we're following the Christ. We know we're following the Christ because we follow his teachings. The person that claims to know the Christ and does not walk in his teachings is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever does keep the teachings feels the embrace of the divine. It's really simple. When we walk in the original ways, we know that we're following the teachings of the Christ. And when we keep these, we find that we are being perfected. We're growing and we're expanding and we're becoming bigger and better. But John was really trying to show us a doctrinal battle that was going on during his time. People saying that they were following the Christ, but not obeying the Christ message, following Paul's message. And you have the right to do that, but you have to realize that the Apostle John, the final messenger of the New Testament, the last living apostle, right before he died, said, look, man, if you're following Paul's way, you're not following the way of the Christ. And really, you're following a way of an antichrist. He said it very, very plain, and he said, you become a liar. And think about it. He just talked about unity. So there's unity within people that have left the ways of Paul. And there's unity amongst people that have left the ways of human sacrifice, blood sacrifice, fear, guilt, control. There's harmony and unity within that. But you really can't hang out with those that eat blood and chew if you're not one of those that do. I mean, we have to come to that place where we realize that there has to be a line of demarcation at some point. And what is that line of demarcation? John said, there's no new teachings to be received except from those that the Christ showed us in the beginning. And this is in First John 2, verse 7. There's no new teachings to be received except from those that the Christ showed us in the beginning. Dear ones, our sons and daughters in the truth, the Christ told us that Antichrist would come, and now they have. Brethren, there's no new teachings to be received aside from those he showed us in the beginning. This is basics. And listen to what John said. John, writing the final message of the last apostle, said, look, after the Christ and the apostles delivered their message and the Christ left, there's nothing new. And yet, when did Paul start his work? After the Christ left. His whole work is new. So John is very clearly saying to us, listen, anything that comes new after the message of the Christ and his apostles isn't new. It is new, but it's a lie. John simply states that there's nothing added to the message that the Christ gave to him and the apostles while he was with them. And anyone that claims to have new apostolic era, apostolic teaching is in error. And the Christ plainly said, there's going to be Antichrist that'll come. There's going to be those that are against the Christ, and they're going to start teaching new stuff. They're going to start teaching about eschatology and raptures and tribulations and Antichrist. That's new stuff. That's all from Paul. It's really all from the Jesuits, but if you want to get down to it, well, let me close with this. If you think I'm straining the point and that it really isn't Paul, look at this. Verse 19. He went out from us, but was never part of us. If he had been, he would have stayed true to our teaching, but he has not. And it's now plain for all to see that he never really was one of us. There's two meanings to that little verse. Let me show you what they are. This Antichrist, who's the Apostle Paul, did once come and speak with the original apostles. And if you look in the book of Acts, you can see that Paul came and spent some time with the apostles. And he came because he came because James said, if you don't come here and talk to us, we're coming out against you hardcore. So he came and talked to him a little bit. And they sent him out with a mission to see how we'd react. He was supposed to go do some things for them. And yet he didn't do it. He failed. He refused. And then John says, so if he had really been one of us, he would have remained true to the teaching, but he has not. This is rock solid confirmation, folks, that Paul was wrong, that Paul was a fake apostle and a enemy of the original Christ. It's clear confirmation that he was sent out from the apostles with a message. They gave him a message. Tell him to stay away from blood. Think about that. They said, tell people to stay away from blood. You know what they were talking about. Tell them to stay away from sacrifice. Tell them to stay away from this crucifixion story that you made up. Get rid of that thing. Oh, we got to go into that. That's a new teaching right there. I love that. And he wouldn't do it. And they also said, take some offerings for the people in Jerusalem. He took the offerings, but they never made it back to Jerusalem. All he did was take offerings. He's like Joel Osteen. And it is now plain to see, John said, that he never was an apostle. And it's plain for you to see, if you will open your eyes and see, that he was a Antichrist. John states, and anyone that reads the final message to the last apostle should plainly see that Paul was never a true member of the disciples, and that he was an Antichrist, not of the company of the Christ. John said it was plain to see, and that was 2,000 years ago. It should have become much more clear for us with today's wealth of information. But you know what? Until you get that comforter activation, until you get your analytical mind cleared out, until you get your reactive mind and your fight or flight mind under control, you can't sometimes receive it all. And that's not me. It's John. The comforter will instruct in all things. Not some things, not most things, but all things. All things. So that means that if you get the comforter activation, then you'll have all the instruction you need about anything. I've learned how to make sidewalks in my dreams. Literally. I was a hockey goalie having trouble skating backward. I learned how to skate backward in my dream. Divine database revelation. You saying God knows how to skate backward? Absolutely. The Comforter teaches you truth and identifies lies. Oh, I got to get the gift of discernment. No, you got to get your analytical mind straight out. There ain't no gift of discernment. It's having the Comforter activation. It teaches you truth and how to identify lies. The Comforter receives and instructs in all things so that you don't have to run after the teachings of a mere man or a mere woman. Not a pope, not a pastor, not a priest, not a tarot reader, not a psychic. No, you get the divine download. That's really, really good stuff. That's really, really powerful stuff. And let me pop into the chat room again, and we will answer some questions. That's been the basics, and I think it might be number 10. I don't know if it's number 10 or number 11, but I'll figure that out before I do this. I wonder why on my channel it doesn't show a live. Huh. But anyway, we'll go in here and answer some questions. So I'm going to sit this way so I can see the actual questions. You know, this is the camera from the Macintosh, so it's got a pretty good camera. I like not having to wear the headset. And if the sound's good, I can't really think of a reason not to do it. So let's go through this and see what we got going on here in this chat. Chat-a-tat-tat. See if I can get to the very tippity top. All right. I was blocked for asking why you trust an elephant god, and you're going to get blocked again because that's rude. You have somebody coming in to a chat room that is practitioner of a Vedic work that's tied to Ganesh, and you can't be insulting. It's just rude. And you need to understand the difference between the Jesus and the Christ. I just finished the book. It is out on my website, and it is out on, it's in my store, so you can get the book. It's $3.99, but the September one I dropped to $1.99. So if you want to get the thing about September 23rd, 2017, it's just $1.99 instead of $3.99 like it was. And the Jesus and the Christ is just $3.99. Jeff, we only know black Hebrews are going to heaven. Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. It is quite shocking to hear the truth for the first time. Acceptance. Thank you, Jen. I never called the Christ a rat bastard. No, that's the Lord. The Old Testament God, basically. Unity is the key, Seven Serpents. I agree. I believe in the Christ. I'm a follower of the Christ. Jesus was a made-up dude. He's not even a real person. We're all in this together. I know the real Jesus. He told me American... Okay, Colin. You know what? You got to go, bro. Take a little time out and see if you can start acting right. American Pie is about the death of Buddy Holly, but don't tell Colin that. Classic Jesus is not the Christ. That's right. I prefer rat bass turd, T-U-R-D. Absolutely. I can't believe there's so many RH negative in here. Somebody just sent me a message today that said, go to the doctor and see if you're RH negative. I mean, they told me I'm O positive, but, I may do it. I may do it. I may do it. All blood is fine because we're all intermixed now. That's probably true. My mom's name is Joy Lee. Did he just call Paul an Antichrist? Yes, I did. Paul was the first Antichrist, and I didn't call him that. John did, and the Christ did. And the reason why I say he's an Antichrist, you got to get your mind out of that pin the tail on the Antichrist future boogeyman thought. Antichrist in the scriptures means against the message of the Christ. Paul preached a message against the Christ. Ergo, Paul is the first Antichrist. Guess who else said that? Thomas Jefferson said that. Leo Tolstoy said that. So I'm not alone. There's some smart dudes. Jeff is not a coward. I don't think I am, and it is my channel. And I won't allow people to be rude. Kay is right. Hateful or use tons of profanity. Paul is a false apostle. Recovering soul, good for you. Michelle put it very clearly. Anti means against. Hey, Chris, my middle name is EE. Yeah, no, it's not. I've never been to enter the whatever. Yeah. The Antichrist spirit overcame Paul on the road. Very good, Gnostic spirit. In fact, Gnostic spirit says the Antichrist spirit overcame Paul on the road. And that construction, that base term is only used twice. It's actually used 3 times in the New Testament. You know, Paul's writing, it says they say he's on the road from road to Damascus. He was really coming from Damascus. He was coming from Damascus to Antioch. And it's still desert out there. And he said that he met Jesus in the desert, and the Christ said, people will say they met me in the desert. Do not believe them. Can you get any clearer than that? The Christ said, if somebody comes saying they met me in the desert, don't believe him. Paul comes saying, I met him in the desert. Don't believe him. And Paul said, a great light shine like the noonday. I said, who are you? He said, Jesus. 2 other places that construction, that basic Greek word is used. One of them, I almost could use that other finger for some of you. I wouldn't flip Colin off, but so road to Damascus. And the other one is where Christ said to the 70, I think it was 72 evangelists or 70 evangelists, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Same Greek phrase. Same root word, little tweak, but they're talking about the same thing. It's like saying lightning bolt or streak of lightning. Same thing. And then the other place where that exact construction is used is when at the resurrection, so-called, of Jesus, where a being appears like lightning. So the Christ said that it was Satan. And when he said Satan, he meant the adversary. That's what the Greek says. So whoever it was that Paul saw on the way to Damascus, whoever it was that gave Paul his teaching, was the great adversary of the Christ. That's why I teach it was the Lord, Yahweh, the rat bastard. So all of Paul's teaching comes from the great adversary of Christ, and Paul is the first human great adversary of Christ. I wonder, was Paul possessed? Somebody asked me, will the rat bastard ever come down and overtake somebody or manifest in human form like the Word did, the Elohim, the Word? Did the rat bastard manifest in Paul's flesh? Did the great adversary, Yaldabaoth, Samael, Sackless, did he manifest in Paul's flesh? Ooh. Look for that coming up on this channel. Wow. Interesting stuff. I think Jen Morris, who's in the chat room, is going to be coming on the channel to talk to us about some of her really interesting but make you kind of uncomfortable studies. And I think she's going to come on. She says she needs to put her ducks in a row. But I think she's going to come on and talk about it. Tamu is coming on maybe next Thursday or the Thursday after to talk about crystals and rocks. Of course, we had Heidi on, was it last night? A couple nights ago? It all runs together for me, man. I only sleep 5 hours a day. It's all one big party. We had Wayne Steiger on. We're threatening to do a show with Rex Bear, myself, and Wayne. I was supposed to have Dr. Stephen Harefield on, and I must have missed it because he didn't say anything to me, and he's the American monk. Very fascinating guy. I got to get back with him. And we have a great person about health and nutrition coming on, Robin Roth. There's a little secret about her. I'll tell you about that later when she comes in. He decodes movies and TV shows, does gematria. Yeah. If you feel strongly, get your own channel. That's right. Nobody will be mad at you, as Jen says. And you can get your own channel. Absolutely. Why were the animals, Moz and Brooks, hello. I never sent you that book. I will. Tell me which one you want, and I'll send it to you for free. Why were the animals in Genesis told to go multiply after their creation, and Adam and Eve were told to replenish the earth after their creation? Oh, you mean replenish? As in to plenish again? As in you've done it before? That's because there was a whole world in Genesis 1:1, Mazden, that was plenished in full. And then the Lord rebelled. The Lord rebelled and destroyed it. So the Elohim said, fill this sucker up again. So there you go. Fill this sucker up again. Sorry, I lost my place. There it is. I think we exist inside an illusion currently. It's possible. It's possible. And I really prefer if you didn't pimp other channels in my chat room. I mean, you know, it's just, it doesn't hit me quite that well. Jeff, what about those of us who have very different ancestor spiritual backgrounds? Michelle, that's what I was talking about. And I did a show about this. And then there's an old one on here too. If you Google Jeffrey Daugherty, who are you? YouTube, something like that. I think that we need to get back in touch with our spiritual ancestry. Well, what if my people were demon worshipers? Well, you can still learn something. Go back to who you were ancestrally. Like me, it's easy because I'm Irish through and through. So I learned about the Tuatha De Danann. I learned about the Norse gods because there was some bleed over. So I learned about, you know, Odin, and I learned about Thor, and I learned about, you know, it's what is it, 2 a.m. or something. So a lot of the names are escaping me, but I learned about that. And I learned about, and I'm learning more now about the great Irish faith because it just puts you in touch with who you are. And you'll find that as you study it, you'll think things will be coming back to your mind, and you start filling in gaps and getting more information to work with. Quantum mechanics. Yeah, everything works on quantum mechanics. I think that you can actually quantum mechanically focus and leverage yourself across different dimensions and apply it as laser focus stuff here. I have a strong urge to study quantum mechanics. Well, recovering soul, I think what you're probably feeling is the knowledge that there's different realities, and there's a very good possibility that there's different manifestations of you or different manifestations of your consciousness in other dimensions. So you feel the call of yourself across dimensionality. And what I'm working on is the ability to, let's say, my intention in this reality is fairly strong. I'm able to accomplish some fairly proficient things. But what if I could leverage the intention of 10 Jeffs and 10 different dimensionalities, and boom, laser focus that right here. And I got to give credit where credit was due, because the idea of that came, you know, I always kind of make fun of the girl that dumped me for a demon, even though she really did. She's the one that put that idea in my head. So she wasn't a dummy. She just did some stupid things. And she's the one that put that idea in my mind. And it's been, you know, twirling around. And I know there's a way to do it. And as soon as I figure out how to do it, I'll teach it. But I can't teach it to people that don't have their analytical mind cleared up, because it won't do you any good. I do need some moderators, Kay. I'm going to have to go to that. I can afford $3.99. Jeff needs longer hair. He looks like God, then I would trust. Look at some of my old videos, Wing Chun Fever. I had it long. I cut it for my mom. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a mama's boy, but she's done so much for me. I mean, I'm sitting in front of a over $7,000 worth of computer equipment that her husband, my stepfather, gave me just because. And it's interesting, if you saw that show, Heidi said that financial abundance has been good for me, but now it's starting to really explode. So that means we're going to get a lot more subscribers. We're going to get a lot more sponsors. We're going to get a lot more people doing analytical mind, life track repair. We're going to get a lot more people giving gifts and sponsorship to this work, and we're going to grow and explode it. And I mean, literally over $7,000 that I'm sitting here looking at. Brand new Mac Mini, keyboard, trackpad, some other stuff. It's just, literally amazing. Free from my stepfather. And I don't know if he'd want me to say his name or else I would, but I really, truly appreciate it. And I didn't cut my hair, Karen. It's just growing out. So I do have the blue eye. My eyes are blue. Yeah, they are blue. Be excellent to each other. Yes. I got a gut feeling, an urgency to go and leave for, okay. You might be a hybrid. Yeah. I was looking for someone to believe what I believe, and I couldn't find anyone. And then I found Jeff from Leak Project. Wing Chun Fever, great to have you here. Let me ask you a question. There's the guy you see him on YouTube, and I think he's Chinese, and he teaches his own little thing of Wing Chun, and he talks really fast like this, but he's really super cool. He's like, yeah, you come up here like that and you do it. And I'm thinking about ordering some of his videos because it looks like he teaches you just some straightforward boom. But I know he might be, scammy too. Master, I can't remember his name, but if you know who I'm talking about, tell me what you think about him. Okay. And I wasn't trying to make fun of anybody, but that's just really the way he is. He's very calm. He says, they come at you. You just do this and it's over. You stop on his face. It's all over. It's really cool. I like Christ. It's like Christ knew about Paul before it happened. Yeah, that's why we call him a prophet. He did. Wing Chun Fever. Heck yeah, thank you. I learned about Jeff from Coast to Coast. Yeah, those guys are so good to me. I don't know if it's 7 or 8 times I've been on, but they're so good to me, and I'm going on again soon. I really like them. I know someone who learned to plant crops on another planet. I'm sure the rat bastard is listening. Oh, you heard me on a sleepless night talk about serpents and doves on Coast. Yeah. I don't know why George likes me, but I'm glad he does. And I'm glad you found Jeff through divine intervention, Jen. Not a word was spoken. All the church bells were broken. We're just going to have to kick Colin out. I hate to do it. I'm going to give him one more timeout. Too nice. Are we, in your opinion, in a matrix? We're in some kind of matrix. I think there's some type of a energetic grid that's encircling the earth that, number one, keeps us from realizing who and what we are here. And then when we die, leave these bodies, it's designed to keep us, it's like an energetic grid or net to keep us from passing through it. I don't know if it's like, it's not Neo, and it's probably not, ones and zeros. It may not be virtual reality, but there is some type of an energetic net or force field, I think, that is around this planet. And maybe, I don't need to get back to the flat earth thing, but maybe that's why we don't have a whole lot of pictures of real unretouched, straight up pictures of Earth from space, because they don't want us to see what's around this Earth. A Christian said to me, shame on you, when I told him about who Paul was. Okay. Maybe Paul Saul, asshole murderer, was possessed by the rat bastard. Yeah, he was either possessed, Kay, but I wonder if he was actually, if the rat bastard actually, I'm going to get into the Greek and see if the rat bastard actually, indwelled him. I don't know who Barb is. Deb. Damn it. I lost it again. It jumps on me. Damn it. Yeah, I do got to get some moderators. So all I have to do is pick somebody and hand them a wrench. Is that how it goes? I think if I just go next to your name here and hover, I can make you a moderator. Huh. Interesting. Have I heard of a guy named Wayne Bush? Seems like I have heard of him, but I don't know where I've heard of him. He runs the website Tricked by the Light. Oh, yes. I've contacted him. I don't think he responded. Because, I mean, I'm so happy we've got like 6,400 in climbing, but sometimes these guys with, you know, Rex is an odd duck. I mean, usually these people with 100,000, 150,000, they don't usually want to, you know, mess with little old people with, you know, 6,000. So I think that's what I run into sometimes, but there will be a day when they will say, man, I wish I'd have gone on there. Had a strange experience, Catholic Church, little girl came along, supposedly met Virgin Mary. That happens a lot, and look for it to start happening even more. I'll address the book gift later. Okay, Marsden. I understand, recovering soul. Supposedly Virgin Mary came in the church in front of her. I said, this is BS in my head since I didn't see anything. And my rosary fell apart at that exact moment. Oh, dude, they were working you good. That's a cool story. That's a cool story. Don't worry, Kay. That is true. I was outside, some evil force tried to get me to attack her. Good for you. Yeah, you want to turn that away. You don't want to do that. And like Heidi was saying the other night, it's a lot of weird energy right now. So you want to kind of take a deep breath, because you might say something to somebody and they'll pull out a Glock and because it's a really weird energy right now. So just chill. I don't want any of you getting shot. Chris sent me a photo. I guess the Mac like pops things up when you get a message because it's connected to my iPhone. How about that? And I got my email on my iPhone. Okay. I'll volunteer to do it for you. What, to moderate? I think I just made you a moderator, so I don't know what you do, but there you go. God or the dude. I get the dude thing constantly when I got the longer hair, and it'll be long pretty soon. I get it. I've calling to Nashville. Anyone want to share a room? You mean like to live there, Jen? To live in Nashville? I'm going to be in Nashville, of course, for the eclipse. Yes, the guy from England. Yeah, that's him, the guy from England. Master Wong! Master Wong! He is funny. Do you think he's legit? Master Wong. I am Master Wong! He's really cool. I love the dude. I'm gonna give him, you can like subscribe for a cheap amount for a month. You know, it's like a little test. Master Wong, that's it. So do you think it'd be worth a few bucks for a subscription? I first heard you on Coast. Damn it. I first heard it popped on me again. Master Wong. He's awesome. I first heard you on Coast. Thank you, Shauna Ray. I remember. Did you didn't call. I thought maybe you called. Thank you, Jen. I actually set up your interview on Third Eye Radio. Oh yeah, Dare, I remember that. I'll send you an interesting pic of what may be around the earth. Oh, that's what you just sent me. See, yeah. I think we're blinded to the whole reality than a holograph matrix. Yeah, I think so too. Nanu. Barbara DeLong. Oh, I'm going on her show soon, I think. Yeah, I'm scheduled to go on her show. Scheduled to go on her show. Love your soul farm knowledge. Yes, I do think that there will definitely be more sightings of Mary. Jen Fisher, you want to know what my blink said when you asked why does a virgin always appear to children? My blink said because she's trying to lure them in to the Catholic Church so they can be taken. I'll leave it at that. Taken. And then Panam says, takes a much more optimistic view because children can see and we can't. Only virgins can see unicorns. Oh, that's hilarious. Boy, a lot of you heard me on Coast. No for the eclipse. Okay. See, now I'm a tool. Yeah. So what does that mean you can do? Like if Colin's acting up, you can just bounce him? Oh, okay. I love tools. Before I quit gnawing and participating in blood rituals, there was a lot of talk about the Fatima prophecy. And George Norrie told me something about the Fatima message that I didn't know about because I was, on talking about the crucifixion and how, everybody thinks, oh, it was an eclipse. No, it said that there was something that hovered in front of the sun and it was big enough to cast a shadow over the city of Jerusalem. And it stayed there for about 3 hours. And when it left, that's when Jesus said, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani. But if you get into the Hebrew, he's saying, why are you leaving me behind? And he's not quoting Psalms. I get that all the time. He's not. Look it up. It's not the same. So George told me, and I didn't know this, and George background is Catholic, he says, one of the Fatima prophecies says that at the crucifixion, the sun came down to the earth. And of course, we know the sun didn't really come down to the earth, but a metallic disc reflecting, it would look like the sun came down to the earth. So you think he's pretty cool, Wing Chun? Cool. Paul Lee heard me on Coast to Coast first. Hello, Friends of Heresy. Oh, that's a great one. Friends of Heresy. Holy Heretic and Friends of Heresy. That's a great name for a band. Rudy, what's up, brother? Ha ha ha. If Colin's acting up, I take great pride in that. Well, that's why you keep getting banned, Colin. And if you do it again, you are gone for tonight. Abso-damn-lutely. I can put him in timeout, block him, and I think I can even ban them. Well, I don't ban him, but block him if he says something else stupid. Or rude. Stupid is too strong a word. Rude. All right. Cut Colin out. Block him, please. In the late 90s, I said Trump would be president. How about that? And take care of North Korea. Fatima was a rat bastard psyop, huh? Well, we made it to the bottom of the chat. We're not listening. You're being annoying. Yeah, thank you. So you were deleted. Did you block him? Yes, he was banned. Okay. That means banned for the rest of this talk, right? Very cool. Thank you very much. So again, Jen Morris will be on the show. Stephen Harefield, American Monk, Tamu and Gina will be back on the show. I'm going to be on Heidi's show. We're going to be on with Rex and Wayne Steiger. And so sorry about that beginning being so sloppy, and I still obviously don't know how to work this, but I think it's going to work really well. I like the camera, I like the sound, and once I learn it, it's going to be super easy. So I really appreciate it, guys, for you being here. Children had no filter until they were 8. That's interesting. Any last minute questions? Yeah, this was a soft opening of our Macintosh production. All right. I do feel sorry for him too, because he's here all the time. I missed the answer to my question. Is the Christ of the Old Testament same as the Christ of the New Testament? Connie, there was no Christ in the Old Testament. There was the God of the Old Testament, which is the Lord Yahweh. And then there's the Christ in the New Testament. The Christ is a manifested Elohim who came down and, came down and manifested. Yes, I believe once you block them, they cannot comment anymore. I guess you'd have to unlock them. Oh, I can do that. So yeah, the Christ, there was no Christ in the Old Testament. There was the rat bastard, the Lord. In the New Testament, the Elohim, the Word who was manifested and became Christ, came in a body. And he came to say, look, no more sacrificing. You don't have original sin. Here's some ways and truths that I'll give you. And if you follow them, they'll lead to life and life more abundant. And oh, by the way, I'm going to give you peace that passes all understanding. Was there a crucifixion? That's a great question. The Christ was not crucified. But I believe there's enough anecdotal evidence. I don't know this because nobody ever wrote about the crucifixion, which is supremely strange. It makes me think there wasn't one. But knowing Paul, I don't think Paul would have left it just a chance, just a story. So there's a lot of evidence that a person that looked a lot like the Christ was crucified, not killed, but was crucified, and then went into the grave, and they got him better, and he, this kind of the swoon theory. So it was a false flag, or it never happened. I can't prove that it ever happened. Philo, who was living there and writing about those times, not a word. There's just no proof. But my blink tells me that's what happened. The Nag Hammadi scriptures say that's what happened. Yes, you can watch him. He can watch, you just can't comment. Okay. Can we get to a higher spiritual life till we learn to handle basic human traits? Yes. How can there be no more sacrificing if Jesus himself was a sacrifice? Pebble dropped. You just asked the $1 million question. How could a guy that stopped sacrifice, walked into the temple, said, no more sacrifice, a guy that said, no more blood sacrifice, forgiveness of sins through water baptism, why would he allow himself to be a sacrifice? He wouldn't. It's a lie. It's a scam. It's a travesty. It's a mockery. It's a Travis mockery. He never was crucified. See, that's the great lie, Pebble. And your mind is saying, wait a minute. See, you're getting it. I believe, yes, it was remote viewed. Someone was drugged and looked like Jesus. Yeah, I've seen it remote viewed. And I think it's more than that. Whoever they drugged, they also MK Ultra'd him. And he thought he was the Christ. Because I've shown you in my video where Thomas came in and said to them, I am Jesus. And they're like, what? Get out of here. Get that con out of my face. And at least 6 of them said, get the hell out of here. The Muslims don't believe he was crucified. That's right. Yeah, the Christ may be an amalgamation, Rudy, of at least 2 or more people that existed at that time. Jesus is straight up fake. The ultimate fake news. Boom! Michelle, good call on that one. It is the ultimate fake news. So there's no Trinity. Come on, man. Oh, I got you. Hence the quotations. Yeah, Rudy's bringing us up a notch on the intellectual level, writing with proper English and stuff. So Peter was telling the truth. Yes, Shauna Ray. That's in the Jesus and the Christ book. So you must be psychic, because when Peter, because that always bugged me. Peter, strong, masculine, fisherman. I don't say anything to anybody. And all of a sudden, he goes sissy and says, oh, no, I don't know the Christ, and denies him 3 times. No, what he did was, what he was denying was, that ain't the Christ you got there. Fools, that ain't the Christ. That ain't the Christ. That ain't the Christ. And that's perfectly consistent with Peter walking up to the Jewish guys that are killing him, walking up to Roman guards and saying, you idiots, that ain't the Christ. That's what he was doing. Tell me that don't make a whole lot more sense than strong rock Petra. Petros, denying him. And the root meaning of Jesus is pig. Yes. There is a Trinity. The three Abrahamic religions, absolutely. And Daniel said no. Amy, read it again. That's the lie that Antichrist would stop the sacrifices. It's not Antichrist that stopped the sacrifices. It's the Christ that stopped the sacrifices by going into the temple, letting all the animals go free, turning over the tables, and instituting baptism. That's in Final Message of the Last Apostle. Amy, good question. Judas' betrayal it's just a story. It wasn't real. I don't like the Seth material. Something tells me I don't like the Seth material, but I got to look it up. It's on my list. It actually is. Seth material is actually scribbled out there on my list. I don't know if you can see it. Seth material. It's on there. It's funny. Heidi says, and you're a list maker. I never met Heidi. Never talked to her before that broadcast. And I'm sitting here left like 4 or 5 lists. And she's, oh, you're a list maker. That stuff's pretty legit. I actually found a channel when doing a search for Jesus as the Antichrist. Nice. I got a whole series about that. Oh, that turns it around too. Yeah, Plastic Jesus says he'd be denied 3 times. And he was. You ain't him. You ain't him. You ain't him. I read a book years ago, The Word by Irving Wallace. Good. Have you heard of the Gospel of the Holy 12? I have. I like it. I'm not sure it's 100% true. It's got dung too, but I like the Gospel of the Holy 12. Peter was the same guy who allegedly sliced off an armed militant's ear in front of other members of an armed mob. I don't think the man had much fear of anyone, let alone some random unarmed person. A maiden, it's just some girl says, aren't you worried? Yeah, get that con out of my face. Where'd my signs go? I redid my whole do in here. I got a completely brand new setup. I have all the Seth material. Do you like it, Chris? Isn't it channeled? The Roman soldiers did stop. Actually, the Roman soldiers didn't stop the sacrifice, Kevin. They let everybody in, but they didn't let them out. That's how it got so bad inside Jerusalem. And that's in the Jesus and Antichrist book. Rudy M. Exactly. Nice. All right, guys, it's 2:15 in the morning. Yes, channeled in some parts are excellent, some are off. Okay. I have a hard time. I was saying, get that corn out of my face. That's what I am saying. Get that corn out of my face. But when he said it on the movie, he says, con, you know. I was saying, get that corn out of my face. You got to watch. Just type in under videos, Nacho Libre, get that corn out of my face. Or just get that corn out of my face and you'll see it. Yeah, they did starve the people out. Absolutely. Saskatchewan. I've been to Regina, Saskatchewan. Yeah, they give me the heebies too, Kay. Just saying. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and bow out of here. It's too late. You've been here too long. You got to go home. Well, you don't have to go home, but you just can't stay here. I could stay here all night. I won't be going to bed until 4 a.m. So it was corn. Thank you, everybody. It's my pleasure to be with you. And let me get over here on my new Mac trackpad. And really, I do appreciate you. We'll see you again tomorrow. And seriously, all of you that are here are seeking for truth. And for that, I salute you.